Hi everyone, welcome to another video. My name is Beatriz. I am an entrepreneur and business coach, founder of Be a Boss Coaching, and as a daughter of immigrants, I want to share what I have learned from the experience of my father, who has had a business pretty much my entire life. He's had multiple businesses throughout his life, and with his current business, he has been in that business and has run that business in the same location for over 23 years. It's been standing there. And for me, thinking about that makes me feel not just proud, but the fact that most businesses don't make it past their 5-year mark. It is incredible to me to see my dad, who has never considered himself an entrepreneur, actually hold down a business, keep it going, and have it stand even after the pandemic. And that's just some things that I've learned and some lessons that as immigrants or children of immigrants, we can also take from our parents or our caregivers and their experiences and bring them into our own entrepreneurship journey. Specifically because when we are growing up, we're often told, like I am the poster child for the daughter of immigrants, is that we have to go to school and that is our only ticket out of whatever generational poverty we may be experiencing. But that is not true. We can build successful businesses as well. We have learned the skills. We probably don't even realize we have innate skills that we had seen from our parents and from people before us. So I just want to share some of the things that I have learned from my dad and his experience as an immigrant coming here to the States in the late 80s and establishing his own business. Just for context, he's a shoe repairman. We own two repair shops, one in West Covina and in Diamond Bar. And he has had multiple businesses prior to the one he has now. But the one he has now is the one that he has kept for the longest. He's had other businesses that he started, grew, and then sold. And now he's probably, I think this is like his 6th or 7th business that he's been keeping and growing and running for the past 22 plus years. So I just want to share some of the lessons that I have learned from him and some of the things that I know if you are a child of immigrants and you have been thinking about starting your own business, some of these lessons you can bring into your own journey and know that you can absolutely have a successful business. So number one is we take risks. Right. My dad and also my mom, both of my parents took risks coming to the United States. If you're a child of immigrants, and you probably have heard stories of your parents coming to the United States from their homeland and their home country, and the struggles and the challenges and the very difficult journey that it most likely took for them to get to where they are now. And that sort of risk taking for a better life is what we do in entrepreneurship as well. We calculate the risks. We think about the different possibilities that could happen once we become successful and truly come up with a great idea and truly come up with a great product or service and what it could do for us as business owners, but also for our community. So we calculate and we take risks. And we do it because we're searching for something better. We're searching for something we know we deserve, and we absolutely deserve to have a life of fulfillment and purpose. Okay. Number two is we know what skills we have, right? My dad is a shoe repairman, so he's been repairing shoes forever. So since he was a boy, he's now in his late 60s, and he has been in this business, a professional cobbler, for over 60 years, pretty much, because he kind of started, or actually about 50 years, because he started when he was a tween, and he's now in his late 60s. And I'm sure that your parents and even yourself grew up with skills that you needed for survival. Maybe you learned how to cook really well, or maybe you learned how to, I don't know, what are some other skills that we grew up with as a daughter of immigrants? We probably went out selling with our parents things that we needed to sell so we could have dinner that night, So my dad was a professional shoe repairman, and so he used that as his way to start his own business. And he knew that he just needed the capital investment in order to start a business. And there definitely was a lot of challenges there because he had started a business in different locations, and some locations did better than others. But even then, you still take the risk, you go for it, and once you learn from those mistakes or you learn from those experiences, you can move forward and make sure that your decisions later on are better and more intentional. So I do want to say that we know the skills that we currently possess. My mom was a housekeeper. Again, one of the a very common experience for a lot of immigrant folks is they go and clean homes. So she actually, what she did is she found a very wealthy family to clean homes for, and that's how she was able to help us and bring home a little bit of money from that as well. We all have skills that we can use to start businesses. So what are skills that you have? Probably you love to help other people. Maybe you're very tech savvy. Maybe you're really good with decorating, or maybe you have a good eye for design. Think about the different skills that you have or the different hobbies that you really enjoy. Can you enhance those skills in order to sell that as a business and to make money out of it? Think about that. Number 3, okay, we are pioneers of getting seed money, right? Seed money is funding that we need or that we use for our startups or businesses before those businesses have launched. And a lot of the times, one of the things that my dad did was actually ask for money to start his business, and he would actually go up to his relatives and friends and ask them if they were interested in investing in a shoe repair shop. Not everybody invested, but he did get a few people to help him out, and that's how he was able to start a few of his businesses, and he definitely paid them back. So if you do that, make sure that you absolutely pay your friends and relatives back. Know that you're going to do everything that it takes to get that money back and pay them back, and hopefully that gets you off the ground. And it's something that in the entrepreneurship world, as the first initial stage of fundraising is first asking your friends and family, and that's something that our parents did with their relatives, to come home and to start businesses, or probably even to get themselves settled, maybe to look for an apartment or a home where they can live until they got their own jobs and started to make their own money, got settled, and were able to pay that back. That's a story that my dad shared with me recently, and I was very surprised that it reminded me of like what other entrepreneurs do now for their startups, where they first ask for funding from friends and relatives. Last but not least, my dad is someone that has taught me that pivots are okay, that pivots are necessary if you want to make this work, if you need to make this work. I know that pivots can be costly, especially if you need to redesign a product or restructure a service. That can be costly, but sometimes you really have no choice. And if you absolutely want to make it in your business and you absolutely want to learn from the mistakes and the failures that you have experienced in your business journey, sometimes you may need to pivot. And even if they're costly, they are necessary, and you can learn from your experiences and keep it moving. And with each time that you get up and do it all over again, you learn something new and you're a much better entrepreneur. And that's something that my dad learned when he opened up a shoe repair business in Koreatown, actually. And that business only lasted about 3 months. The demographic around the area wasn't keen to go in to repair their shoes. And that's a lesson that he had to learn. Even though he had invested in opening that business, he had to learn that. And while it was hard, there was nothing you could do. But he took that risk, and he knew he had to pivot, so he looked for a better location after that. So yes, while it was costly, the payoff long term is the fact that he didn't give up, and he looked for a better place, and eventually found better locations where to put up his business, and learned from that first initial business. So if you are thinking about a pivot, if something is not working in your business, maybe it's the location, maybe it's the product, maybe it's the target audience, maybe it's the way you're marketing, maybe you're doing your marketing all wrong, whatever it is, know that you can pivot, know that you can learn from it, know that you can keep going. And unless you give up and you decide to throw in the towel, then you can always learn from it and move forward. All right. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. some lessons that I learned from my father, who is an entrepreneur and business owner. He's been here in LA for my entire life, so like 40 plus years, and he was able to start his business and still has his business open now. And once you have a loyal customer base, which I guess bonus tip is, if you have an amazing service or product, you know your skills are beyond what other people can do, you have a loyal following. My dad has had a loyal customer base for a very long time because he's been doing this for a very long time, and he's very generous with the community that he serves. You know, being an immigrant here in the United States and growing up in poverty in El Salvador, my dad's idea of pricing was very low. And it wasn't until I showed up and was seeing the prices that he was charging that I realized, like, this is why he has a loyal customer base, is because they get a lot of value from his business, from his service. So that's something that I had to talk to him about, the pricing, and still keep it valuable, but have it at a range where it's still sustainable to him, his business, his livelihood. And that's a line that we have been able to manage together. So that's a bonus tip there. Is most of the time we know we really want to provide as much value to people. And as immigrants, we know the value that we receive and what value looks like when we receive help from others or when others generously give to us. So when we start businesses, we also want to provide that generosity. And sometimes that generosity comes through in lower prices. And that's how you can create a loyal customer base. But once you do that, remember, don't let scarcity mindset keep you working hella hours and feel hella struggle just to make a few dollars. Remember to toe that line and still provide value, but with the ability to have a sustainable lifestyle and to compensate yourself well for your skills and your expertise. All right, so that is all for me. I hope this was helpful. I think these lessons that I've learned have really remind me all the time that when I'm feeling like something isn't working, or I know something is failing, or I'm just not receiving the feedback or the engagement or the sales that I wish I was seeing in my business, I just remember that my dad was able to do it, and that even language barrier, like, he was able to figure it out and make it happen. And so we have all the access. We grew up with understanding two languages and understanding both English and Spanish very well. And so you absolutely can also make yourself successful, and you can do it. All right. Thank you so much. If you are looking for an entrepreneur business coach, my name is Beatriz. Remember to come check us out at beabosscoaching.com. You can come there and download my freebies. You can check out my blog posts and book a call with me. I'd love to get to know you, and I'm excited to help you out in your journey. All right. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.